Hi guys. Today I'm going to introduce to you how we are going to go about writing an essay. Now, don't freak out. We're not to that part yet. We're not going to write an essay right this moment, but I want you to know what's going to go in to every single essay that we write. So today I'm going to walk you through a small portion of what goes into that essay. So as you see on your screen, we use a formula called Ant-tiqa-rec, which just sounds like a crazy, crazy word. But every letter in that stands for something, and that's going to help us ensure that we have everything that we need to write a great essay. So when we write, we're going to write to analyze or to evaluate something. An argument is what we're going to be looking at first. So we're going to be analyzing a text to help us present an argument. So we're going to focus today on just that ant portion, the A-N-T, and that's going to be the introduction to our essay. So we have this analyze and evaluate. When we analyze something, think about this as in science class. When you look in a microscope at those really tiny little molecules and you can actually see them and identify some of their properties, because we're breaking things down into their smaller parts and determining how those parts relate to one another. That's what we're going to do when we analyze. We're going to look at a big text. We're going to break it down into smaller parts so that we can really look at how those smaller parts work together. When we evaluate, another word for evaluate is judge. So we're going to be judging how well a text does something. So we're going to judge the value of the ideas, the purposes, or the claims that a text makes. Okay, so you guys are the judges when you evaluate. Now, we're only going to talk about the introduction portion today, so this is going to be a short video, but we're going to focus on that A-N-T, the ant portion of our Ant-tiqa-rec. So the A is an attention getter. It can also be called a hook. So if you've heard of a hook, same thing. So what you want to do is get that reader's attention. You can ask a rhetorical question. Rhetorical question is a question that's not really going to be answered. You can add a relevant quote from some other source. You can add a relevant quote from the story that we read. You can add a fact or statistic, but we don't want it to just be a normal fact or statistic. We need it to be something that's really going to catch their attention. So make sure that it's very interesting. You can also add a description of your initial response to the work. So maybe you read something and you were really shocked by it. You can discuss for your attention getter how you felt about that work. The last thing you can do is to share a shocking or amusing generalization. And a generalization you can think of sort of like a stereotype, but again, something that's going to get your reader's attention. Once you have the reader's attention, we're going to move into our in. So we went from our A, our attention getter, to our in, our necessary information. So necessary information is just the background. What do your readers need to know in order to understand your topic? Because think about it, even though we've read all these texts in class, I'm going to guess that a lot of people haven't. So you have to make sure that those people understand what it is that we're talking about. So you're going to want to introduce the background of the topic. What do people need to understand in order to understand your paper and what you're writing about? You're going to give a 2 to 3 sentence summary of a story that you're going to focus on. We've read multiple stories. If you're going to pick one for most of your evidence, then you want to definitely give us background about that story. If, however, you're going to talk about multiple stories, then maybe give us some background for this section on survival. What does it take to survive? What are some of those necessary things that you have to have in order to survive a situation? Okay, so A, attention getter, in, necessary information, and that takes us to the last portion of your introduction. The T. The T is our thesis statement. Our thesis statement is the absolute most important sentence of your paper. It's going to basically be a roadmap that shows your reader where you're going to be going on this ride that you're taking them on through your essay. So the easiest way to write a thesis, and what we're going to focus on as our formula at the beginning here until we get comfortable with it, is down here at the bottom. You're going to say because, and then you're going to list your 3 reasons, reason 1, reason 2, and reason 3, and then you're going to list your claim. Now, we've got words like reasons and claims and thesis statements, which might all be brand new to you. However, you should be working with no red ink, on thesis statements, so you should be reading some of those, learning what those are. We're also going to go over what a claim is, what reasons are, and how we're going to pull those out in another video. So again, for right now, things to consider. Ant-tiqa-rec, our introduction is ant only. A, attention getter. N, necessary information. And T, the all-important thesis statement. Now that you're done with this, you've got a second video to watch, and that's going to be an example. So I'm going to show you an example of how we would outline an essay using A and T for our introduction.